Hi everyone, I am Hannah Alburo. I will be the one discussing the nouns, the pronouns, and the tenses. So for the nouns or even these three topics, I think all of you already have an idea of what are they. And even noun, syempre, because it is very basic and it is a topic that has been already taught during elementary days, right? Yes. So okay, to start with, the noun. So, what is a noun? A noun is the name of a person, place, thing, event, phenomena, and emotions, and etc. So, that is based from the PPT that we have here. So, okay, that is a noun. So, a noun is a name. So, that is the basic meaning of noun. So there are actually 8 kinds of nouns. You might think that there are a lot of them, but don't worry because I will only be discussing them very briefly because our subject is general education, not linguistics, which deals with the deeper study of the English language itself. Okay, so for the 8 kinds of nouns, we have the proper nouns, then the common nouns, the count nouns or the countable nouns, then the mass nouns or uncountable nouns, collective, then compound, concrete, and abstract. So for the first one, the proper nouns. So from the name itself, proper, no, it is a noun that names a specific person, place, or thing or events. So it is the name of a particular person or thing. Basta proper nouns, specific names. No? Yan ang lagi nating tatandaan. So for example, we have here the words Eiffel Tower. Very specific, right? We have William Shakespeare, specific name of a person. Then we also have the Mount Everest. So I have here some sentences in which you can see that there are words that are in bold form. Okay, so from these words, can you or what can you observe from these words that are in bold form? Yes, these words start with big letter, and that is actually one of the features of proper nouns. So they always start with big letters. So take for example in the first sentence we have in India the cow is a sacred animal. So the word that is in bold form is India, right? So India is actually a specific name of a country, di ba? India. Okay, so for the next sentence, we have after the accident, John was dazed. So the word that is in bold form is John. So John is a specific name of a person, right? So next, for the third sentence, please give me a Cadbury candy. Cadbury is a specific name of a candy, right? Okay, so moving on for the fourth sentence, she'll arrive in New York at noon. So New York is a specific name of a place. Next, she has a dog named Elmo. So Elmo is a specific name of a dog. Next is we have only Joycey and Summer read the book. So Joycey and Summer, they are specific names of a person, right? So that is all for the proper nouns. Now let us move on to the common nouns. So from the name itself, no, common noun. So very common or general name. So these are the nouns that refer to any one of a class of persons, places, or things. So it could mean any or it could like it is very general kasi, no? So, it could refer to any one of these classes. So, take for example, we have the cow, dog, cat, girl, boy, man, woman. So, it could be any cow, any dog, any cat, any girl, any boy, any man, any woman. So, it could be any of them because common noun is actually very general, di ba? So, I have here some sentences just like the proper nouns, diba? I have here some sentences and there are words that are in bold form. So, what can you observe from the words that are in bold form? Yes, correct. They all start with small letters. So, which is very different from proper nouns in which they start with big letters. So, that is actually the difference between the two nouns, no? So, for the first sentence, let's take a look. This day is unforgettable for me. So this could mean any day. It could be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, diba? Could be any of those days. Okay, next. A child is playing near the swimming pool. So child, it is a common name, no? It could be any child, no? So for the third sentence, let's go to the gym tomorrow. So it could mean any gym. It could be any gym, diba? Next, pass me that book. It could be any book. Next, number 5, the airport was about 20 kilometers distant. So, it could be any airport, no? It is not specific, diba? So, if you look at these words, no, they are actually, like they are in general form, like not in a specific form, which is different from the proper nouns, right? So that is all about the proper nouns and the common nouns, no? Okay, now let us move on to the third kind of noun, which is the concrete nouns. So what are concrete nouns? So concrete nouns are nouns that physically exist, no? In short, these are the nouns that can be perceived by our senses, rather, by our senses, no? Things that we can physically see, hear, smell, taste, and of course, feel. So that is actually the concrete noun. So whatever you're sitting on, looking at, or writing with, even the person near you, even the person beside you, the things, even you and even me, diba? We are all concrete nouns. So okay, take note that concrete nouns, now it identifies something physical that can be experienced by one or more of our 5 senses. Okay, I have here some examples of concrete nouns. So we have a person, Tom, diba? Concrete noun siya. An object, bed, concrete noun. An animal, cat, concrete noun. And a place, zoo, concrete noun. Okay, since now that you are introduced with the concrete nouns, I have a question for you. Is air a concrete noun? Is air a concrete noun? I will give you time to think about whether air is a concrete noun. Okay, time is up. So air is what? Is it a concrete noun or not? Air is actually a concrete noun. Why? It is because air is something that we can feel, diba? Of course. Take for example, you put your hands up like this. Okay, put your hands up like this and move it like this. Diba? You feel something. You feel the air, diba? So, air is a concrete noun because we can feel it. Even though we cannot see it with our own naked eyes, we can still feel it. Therefore, air is concrete noun. And air is actually a gas. No? And gas is one of the 3 states of matter, right? And these matters have physical properties. And among them, as far as I can remember, density, right? Gas has density, air has density, like they take up space and they have weight, right? So, air is a physical substance. It is not imaginary. So that is why it is a concrete noun. We can feel it. Next word, water. Is water a concrete noun? Yes, water is a concrete noun. Why? Of course, we can touch water even though it does not have a definite shape, like we cannot really touch it, no? Like because it does not have a solid form, no? Though we can still touch it, 'di ba? When you touch the water, your hand becomes wet, no? Therefore, water is a still a concrete noun. Okay, so too much for that. Let us now move on to the next topic, which is all about the countable and uncountable nouns. So for the countable nouns, 'di ba? These are nouns that can be counted and quantified using numbers, no? We can count them one by one to get the total number. Kaya nga countable nouns. So, they can either be singular or plural, or they actually have the singular and plural form. So, let's take the word apple as an example. So here we have the word apple. We add s, it becomes apples. It becomes plural. Next, the mango. We add es, mangoes. It becomes plural. Diba? So when you hear the word apple, what comes to your mind? Yes, you think of one apple only. Now, when you hear the word apples, what comes to your mind? 'Di ba? It could be many apples, 'di ba? Daghang apples. Okay, the next thing that you need to know is that in countable nouns, we can use a number, a or an before the noun, no? So, let's take a look at the first sentence. There is an apple. We used the word an before the noun apple. Of course, an because the word apple starts with a vowel, right? So, next rule is we have the singular verbs are used with singular countable nouns. Okay, so what is the verb that we used here in the sentence? It is the word is, right? It is a singular verb. So the singular verb is matches the singular countable noun apple. So okay, for the second sentence, we have there are 3 apples. We have here the verb. What do we have here? The verb are. No, it is a linking verb or helping verb. So we have here the number, right? We have here the number 3, and then we have the plural countable noun apples. So, if plural, no, we can use, or we should use rather, we should use plural verbs with plural countable nouns. No, it should always match, di ba? Okay, next is we have the uncountable nouns. So these are known or otherwise known as the mass nouns. So these are nouns that cannot be counted and quantified using measurements, and they usually do not have plural forms. And also we do not use a number, a or an before the noun, unlike the countable nouns. So let's have a look at an example. So an example of an uncountable noun is cheese. Yes, cheese. Cheese is actually an uncountable noun, and some of you might be confused. Why is cheese an uncountable noun? Well, let's find out. Okay, so for the first sentence, let us look. There is a cheese. So according to the rule, we cannot use the word a or an before the uncountable noun. No, we cannot use them because of course uncountable noun, they cannot be counted. Next, there is an cheese. It is still wrong, no, because it is already grammatically erroneous na. Next, there is one cheese. Another, we cannot use number together with the uncountable nouns. Instead, we can say there is some cheese. No, we can use the words some, much, little, a lot of, no, or not much to tell how many cheese there is. Though we cannot actually count them totally, no? Though we can still give a glimpse, we can still give an idea of how much there is. Now, these words some, much, little, a lot of, no, or not much, these words are actually partitive nouns. So, okay. Now the question, why is cheese an example of an uncountable noun? Why? It is because the explanation behind that is cheese is a collective noun. So there are actually a lot of types of cheese, no? And if we are going to focus on the word cheese itself, it is uncountable because it is collective, no? It is a collective noun in which individual examples can be counted. Now, 'di ba? Katong mga individual examples na sa cheese, they can now already be counted, no? So take for example the sentence, I have several kinds of cheese in the Tupperware. 3 Parmesan cheese, 4 mozzarella cheese, unsa pa? 2 cheddar cheese. Now, 'di ba? So that is the difference, no? Cheese is a collective noun. It is an uncountable noun in which individual examples can be counted. No? So that is the explanation, no? Why is cheese an uncountable noun? Okay, moving on. As you can see from the slide, you can see the word exceptions. Exemptions na pod. Actually, English subject is a complicated subject. It is very broad. No, there are actually a lot of exceptions. There are a lot of considerations. No, which is very different to the math subject. Diba? In English, you can have this one single question. And from this one single question, there can be a lot of answers. No? There can be a lot of answers. See, which is very different to mathematics. Take, for example, in the post-test. Your classmates' answer in number 15 is 24. And then your answer in number 15 is 53,786 and 75 cents. Sige daw. Diba? You are wrong na jud, no? There are no exceptions. There will be no considerations to see if your answer is correct, no? Wrong is wrong na jud. No? The correct answer jud ana is 24 na jud. So, yeah. English is a very complicated subject. Okay, so going back to the uncountable nouns, diba? Okay, according here, we can use a number or an with uncountable nouns when we use another countable noun with it. Okay. So, what this idea is conveying is that uncountable nouns can be counted if we use the counters. So let's have a look at this example. So at our first example rather, diba? There is some juice. Juice is an uncountable noun, right? Yes, it is an uncountable. Therefore, since we only have the uncountable noun in the sentence juice, of course, we use the partitive noun some, no? There is some juice. And also the word juice, 'di ba? Going back to what I've said earlier, 'di ba? Uncountable nouns, they usually do not have plural forms. And does the word juice have plural form? Of course not. Of course not, 'di ba? We, juices. There's no word such as juices, 'di ba? It is only juice. So that is why in the first sentence, we can only say there is some juice. Now, to the second sentence. There are 2 glasses of juice. Uy. This is the clear presentation of the idea presented in this slide now, in which it says that we can use a number a or an with uncountable nouns when we use another countable noun with it. Now, there are 2 glasses of juice. 2 glasses, no? We already used, or we have used the number 2. Then, may bagong word na lumitaw. We now have the word glasses. So glasses is another noun. It is a countable noun paired with the uncountable noun juice. So now we can quantify the juice based on how many glasses are there. No, 'di ba? 'Di ba? So there are 2 glasses of juice. We can now count the juice, no? Based on the glasses. Okay, so that is the clear representation of this idea, no? The exceptions. Okay, now for the next example. There is a lot of bread. So we only used the uncountable noun over here, bread. And then since we cannot count bread, yes, we cannot count bread. Same explanation as the cheese, because bread is a collective noun in which individual examples can be counted. So take for example again, I have I have several kinds of bread in this basket. 3 baguettes, 2 croissants, 4 focaccia bread, 'di ba? So that is the reason why bread is an uncountable noun. So from the sentence, there is a lot of bread, a lot of partitive noun, bread, uncountable noun. And then the helping verb is singular. Next sentence, there are 11 slices of bread. Okay. We used the number, or in this sentence, we used the number 11. So, from the sentence, can you tell me what word or what is the countable noun? Yes, slices, di ba? Slices. So, the countable noun slices is used together with the uncountable noun bread. Therefore, we can now count and quantify the bread based on how many slices are there. No. So that is for the countable and uncountable nouns. But we are still not done about these 2 kinds of nouns, no? Okay. So, another consideration, no? Some nouns can be both countable and uncountable. The meaning changes depending on the context. Okay, we have here the word, chicken. So, for the first sentence, there are 5 chickens on the farm. The word chicken over here is referring to the chicken as an animal. Therefore, we can count it. We can use a number together with it, and the word chicken, if we are referring to the animals, is that we can, it has a plural form. Chicken, chickens. Now, if the word chicken that you are referring to is an animal. So, for the Second sentence, I ate chicken for dinner. I ate chicken for dinner. Diba? So, let me ask you, the word chicken in this sentence, is it countable or uncountable? It is uncountable na. Why man, ma'am? Why man? It is because the word chicken over here functions as a food. Yes, it functions as a food. So food is actually an uncountable noun. So chicken is an uncountable noun because it functions over here as a food. So we cannot say I ate a chicken for dinner. I ate a chicken for dinner. Okay, so if you say that to someone, let's say, "Hi Abby, I ate a chicken for dinner." So what will Abby think if you say that to her? Or if you said that to her? Of course, she will think that you ate the chicken, like the animal chicken, pag yun, like, buhi pa dyan siya, no? She will think of you as someone who ate the animal chicken alive, di ba? No, Jeffrey Dahmer. Charot. Okay, now, going back to the word food. I said earlier that chicken is an uncountable noun because it functions as a food. Now, for the word food itself. The word food is still an uncountable noun because it is a collective noun in which individual examples can be counted. So, let's say let's say na ay meat. So, under sa food, di ba, we have meat, uh, fruits, then we have vegetables. So, the meat The meat as a food, it is an uncountable noun. Now, if you can still remember, I used the words apples and mangoes as an example under countable nouns, and they are considered as food, but they are countable nouns. So, sa fruit, di ba, they are under the fruit category of food, di ba? Now, the word fruit itself, is fruit an uncountable or countable noun? Fruit is actually both countable and uncountable. Actually, same siya sa vegetable. Why? It is because fruit has a plural form and also vegetable. There are some instances wherein fruit is an uncountable noun and countable noun. So for countable noun na food ay na fruit rather, uncountable noun sa ta. Uncountable noun na fruit. So let's take for example fruit is good for your health. Now, the fruit there functions as an uncountable noun because the fruit there stands as a collective noun. Fruit is good for your health. So, murag broad siya, no? Murag dako kay siya. Dako siya sakop. So, therefore, it is a collective noun. It is uncountable noun, no? The fruit in that sense. Now, how about fruit that functions as a countable noun? Okay, take for example, my three favorite fruits are bananas, mangoes, and apples. My three favorite fruits. So, in that sense, the word fruit functions as a countable noun, no? You can count them. Okay, too much for countable and uncountable noun. Let us now proceed to the next kind of noun, which is the abstract nouns. So from the name itself, abstract, these are nouns that cannot be perceived by our senses. Now, it is the opposite of the concrete nouns. So, these nouns refers to concepts and emotions. Okay. So, I have here some examples of abstract nouns. Take, for example, we have feeling happy, sad, 'di ba? And based from these sentences, no, faith can move mountains, your enthusiasm is highly commendable, honesty is the best policy. So these words that are in bold form, they are abstract nouns, no? We cannot perceive them physically, no? But we can feel them, no? Emotionally, it is actually concept, emotion. So that is why it is called an abstract noun. Okay. Now moving on, let us now move on to the collective nouns. So collective nouns, these are nouns that name a group of persons or things. For example, tribe, flock, assembly. So if you can still remember, I have been using collective noun as a reason why, or yes, as a reason why such things can be classified as uncountable noun. Now, are all collective nouns uncountable nouns? Well, no. Since there are collective nouns which can be counted, take for example the word group, groups, team, teams, 'di ba? They are collective but they can be countable, no? Like we have 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 teams, 4 teams, 6 teams. So next kind of noun that we are going to tackle is the compound nouns. So these are nouns that are made up of 2 or more words that functions as a single unit. So take for example passerby, passer plus by. So the word passer and by, they are connected, no? They are combined together to form a new meaning, no? Next, sister-in-law, sister plus in plus law. So these 3 words, sister, in, law, they are combined through the hyphenation, kanang dash, no? They are combined as one, then they again form another meaning. Then we have seafood, sea plus food. And of course, the words cookies and cream, they also function as one, as a single unit. No, they are combined. Though they are not combined like nagtapad yun sila nga words, but still they function as one. Cookies and cream, another example. Peanut butter, another one. Right of way, they are compound nouns. Okay, we are now done with discussing the kinds of nouns. Now let us move on to the functions of nouns. So the functions of nouns, first one is we have the subject. A noun functions as subject, no? In which a noun or pronoun partnered with a predicate verb. Take for example the sentence, Thelma expressed her gratitude to her fans. Which is the subject. Of course, Thelma, no? Thelma is the noun that functions as a subject in this sentence because it is partnered with a predicative verb, expressed her gratitude, diba? Next is we have vocative. So a noun that functions as vocative indicates, no? It indicates that somebody is being directly addressed by the speaker. Take for example the sentence, where is everybody, Thelma? So in here, Thelma is the noun that functions as a vocative because Thelma is the one that is being addressed to by the speaker, no? By the one who said this sentence. Now we have the direct object. So the direct object receives the action of the verb, answers who or what after the verb. So take for example the sentence, Thelma kicks the ball. Okay, going back. So in this sentence, Thelma kicks the ball, which is the subject. Still Thelma, no? Now, the noun that functions as the direct object is the ball. It is because it is the noun that receives the action of being kicked. no, by the subject, Telma. Okay. What, take for example, sige, let's transform it into a question. What is kicked by, what was kicked? Okay, what is kicked by Telma? Of course, the ball. Or what did Telma kick? The ball. Okay, now let us move on to the next function, indirect object. So indirect object answers the question to whom or for whom. To whom or for whom. Okay, take for example the sentence, Telma gave Maddie some meatballs. So Telma still is the noun that functions as the subject. And then we have Maddie. So si Maddie na ang ato ang indirect object, no? It is because it answers the question to whom or for whom. Okay, let's transform this sentence into a question form. For whom was the meatballs? For Maddie. To whom did Telma gave the meatballs? For Maddie, di ba? For Maddie. Okay, moving on, we have the subject noun predicate. It is a word or phrase that refers back to the subject and comes after a linking verb. Take, for example, the sentence, Telma is the actress. In this sentence, we have Telma still. We have Telma still as the noun that functions as the subject. And then now, the word actress is the one that functions as the subject noun predicate. It is because the word actress, it what? It refers back to Telma, no? The word actress and Telma is linked together with the use of the linking verb is. Therefore, who is the actress? Telma. Telma is what? The actress, no? It reflects back to the subject. Next is we have the object noun predicate. So for the object noun predicate, it comes after a direct object and then refers back to the object. Okay, for the sentence, the group appointed Telma leader of the club. Okay. So asa man diri ang object noun predicate? Okay, let's look at this very kanantan-aw jud natong tarong. So an object noun predicate comes after a direct object, then refers back to the object. So first, let's ask. I will ask, what is the direct object in this sentence? Of course, Telma. It is because the noun Telma receives the action of being appointed by the group. Therefore, Telma is the direct object. Now, the object noun predicate, it says that it comes after a direct object. Now, what comes after the direct object Telma? Leader. Yes, leader. So therefore, leader is our object noun predicate because it refers back to our direct object. Okay, moving on, we have the object of the preposition. So it comes after a preposition. Telma correlates love with effort. So Telma here still functions as a subject. Now, the effort, the word effort, is our object of the preposition. It is a noun. It is a noun that functions as an object of the preposition because it comes after a preposition with. Okay, now for the last one, appositive. It is a noun or noun phrase that renames another noun right beside it. Take for example the sentence, Telma, my sister, celebrates her birthday. So we have Telma. Then it is again renamed as the sister. So Telma, my sister, celebrates her birthday. So that is appositive. Okay, now let us move on to the pronouns. So what is a pronoun? The pronouns are words that stand in the place of nouns. So in short, these are the words that substitutes and replaces the noun. Okay, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 kinds of nouns that I will be tackling, but I will only be discussing them very briefly, just some sort of introduction. So For the first one is we have the personal pronouns. So personal pronouns, these are pronouns that refer to the person speaking, the person spoken to, or the person or thing spoken about. Actually, personal pronouns, these pronouns comprise the largest of the six classes of pronouns. It is because they replace all common and proper nouns. Of course, in replacing the pronoun, you should always remember to always make the pronoun match with the antecedent, or the pronoun should always agree with the antecedent in terms of person, gender, and the number. So, okay, I have here a table. So, for the personal pronouns, so under the singular, we have, so for the first person, we have the I and me. I for the subject and me for the object. For the singular second person, we have you, both for the subject and for the object. Then we have for the third person singular, we have the he, she, it for the subject, and then for the object, we have him, her, it. Then for the plural, we have for the first person, we for subject, and then object, us. For the second, we have you for both the subject and object. And then for the third, we have they for the subject and them for the object. So, you may notice that the pronouns are divided into being a subject or object. What is the difference between the two? Let's find out. So, a subjective pronoun is a pronoun that performs an action. So, take for example the sentence, she shouts at Telma. So, the pronoun here, she, is the one doing the action of shouting. Therefore, I is the one doing the action of shouting, yes. Therefore, the pronoun she is the subjective pronoun, she. Now, let us move on to the next one. So, the objective pronoun. The objective pronoun is the one that receives the action. So, let's take a look at the sentence. She shouts at her. She, the pronoun she still functions as a subjective pronoun. Why? It is because the pronoun she is the one that is doing the action of shouting. And then now we have another pronoun, the pronoun her. So the pronoun her is the one that is receiving the action of being shouted by the subjective pronoun she. So her is the objective pronoun that receives the action of being shouted. Next, for the personal pronouns. In personal pronouns, the subject form and the object form are different. So we have the I, then me, he, him, she, her, they, them, and we, us. Now, for this slide, subjective or objective, can you tell me which sentence is subjective and which sentence is objective? Okay, sentence A is the subjective or the pronoun I that functions as a subject. It is because the pronoun I in sentence A is the one doing the action of liking, and then in sentence B, Anna likes me, the pronoun me functions as an object pronoun because the pronoun me receives the action of being liked. Okay. Next, personal pronouns. The subject form and the object form remains the same. So, in subject pronoun and object pronoun of the pronoun you and it, they have or they remain the same. But we can still know the functions of these pronouns based on how they are used in the sentence. Okay, so for this slide, can you tell me which sentence is subjective and which sentence is objective? Okay. So the pronoun or the sentence that functions as a subjective, or the pronoun that functions as a subjective, is in sentence A. It is because the pronoun you performs the action of liking. And then in sentence B, the pronoun you functions as an objective pronoun because the pronoun you receives the action of being liked by Anna. Okay, now for the next slide, can you tell me which sentence functions as an object pronoun and which sentence functions as a subject pronoun? Okay, sentence A functions as an object pronoun. Why? It is because the pronoun it receives the action of being liked by Anna. And then in sentence B, the pronoun it functions as the subject of the sentence. Okay, now let us move on to the next kind of pronoun, which is the possessive pronoun. So possessive pronouns, they allow possession. We have two types of possessive pronouns. We have the possessive adjectives, which is still subjective in nature siya. Then we have possessive pronouns, which is objective in nature. So take for example, let us look at the words. So under possessive adjectives, the pronoun my becomes mine if it is used in objective form. So take for example, this is my book. So this is my book. So the possessive pronoun there, my, tells or qualifies who owns the book. It is also called possessive adjectives because it qualifies who owns the book. It tells who owns the book. How about let's make it into a possessive pronoun. This is my book. This book is mine. So now the pronoun mine there represents the owner of the book, no? It represents the owner of the book. Next, possessive pronouns, they are written without apostrophe. So we should not confuse ourselves with the contractions now, with the apostrophes. So let's take a look at the first sentence. I found the book, but its cover has been torn. So it is wrong because the word its is used with an apostrophe. So if we are going to read this one without the contraction of the apostrophe, I found the book but its cover has been torn. Wrong, di ba? Unlike in sentence or in the second sentence, I found the book but its cover has been torn. The word its is written without the apostrophe. Its here functions as a possessive pronoun. Okay, moving on to the reflexive and intensive pronouns. So these are the pronouns, no? Pronoun plus self or selves. So for the first person singular, we have the myself, and for the plural, we have ourselves. Then second person singular, yourself, and then plural, yourselves. Third person, himself, herself, itself, oneself, and then for the plural, themselves. Now, what's the difference between the reflexive and intensive pronouns? So, reflexive pronouns, from the name itself, these pronouns reflect or refers back to the subject. Now, let's take a look at the sentences. I see myself in his actions. So, I and myself. So, myself refers back to the subject I. It mirrors the I. Did you teach yourself? So, yourself refers back to the subject you. He cut the paper himself. Himself refers back to the subject he. They were shocked about themselves. So, themselves reflects back to the subject they. Now, for the intensive pronouns, these are the pronouns that show emphasis. Now, emphasis. Take, for example, the sentences, I, myself is the culprit. You yourself is the teacher. He himself cut the paper. They themselves were shocked. So notice that the intensive pronouns, the both pronouns, magkatabi sila, no? Tapad silang duha. While in reflexive pronouns, they are not put together, no? Like, naapad yung word nga, naa sa ilahang tunga. So that's the difference between reflexive and intensive pronouns. Now let us move on to the indefinite pronouns. So indefinite pronouns, no? These are the pronouns that do not refer to a specific noun, no? Kaya nga indefinite. So for the singular, we have any, everyone, anybody, no one, everybody, anyone. Then for the plural, we have the both, several, few, many, and for both singular and plural, we have the none, all, and some. Next is we have the interrogative pronouns. So interrogative pronouns, from the name itself, they interrogate, no? They are used in asking questions. So these are the words. We have the who, whom, whose, what, which. As simple as that. The next one, we have the demonstrative pronouns. So demonstrative pronouns, these are the pronouns that are used in pointing nouns. No? They are considered adjectives when they are used before the noun. So take for example, these books, those castles, that flag. So the pronouns these, those, and that over there, they functions as an adjective because they are used before the nouns. Now, they are demonstrative pronouns if and if they are like they do not follow each other. No. Take for example the sentence, these are her books. So the word these over there functions as a demonstrative pronoun. No. So, okay, for demonstrative pronouns, for the singular, near, we have the this. For the far, we have the that. For the plural rather, we have under near, we have the these, and far, those. Okay, so now that we are done with the nouns and pronouns, let us now move on to the tenses. Now, for the tenses, let us first discuss what does tense mean. So in grammar, a tense is a category that expresses time reference. Tenses are actually manifested by the use of specific forms of verbs, particularly in their conjugation patterns. In short, tenses are the verb's time frame. So for this topic, I will be discussing the simple tenses, perfect tenses, progressive or continuous tenses, and then the perfect progressive tenses. So first, we will be discussing the simple tenses. So from the name itself, simple. These are the tenses actually, no, that are that has already been introduced during even those in your elementary days, no. So for the simple present tense, no, simple present tense, it expresses habitual or routine or factual actions, no. Take for example, I dance. Take for example, I dance. Now, it is my habit that I dance, no? And it is a fact that I dance. So therefore, it is a simple present tense. I dance. Now for the next one, simple past tense. So these are the verbs in the past tense that express actions that happened in the past. She danced yesterday. She danced yesterday. So notice that in simple present tense and simple past tense, the subject and the verb are kanang magkatapad silang duha, like I subject dance verb, she subject danced verb, diba, tapad silang duha. Now for the simple future tense, verbs in the future tense express actions that will happen in the future. So she will dance. So always, guys, always remember that if we are talking about the future tenses, modals are always, or modal, there should always be modals. So for this sentence, she will dance. So the modal here, we have the will plus the present tense of the verb dance. Of course, kay mahitabo pa man siya, so she will dance. Subject plus modal plus the simple form of the verb. She will dance. Okay. So there are actually other types of modal. We also have the, aside from will, we have the should, may, would, and shall. Okay, since now that we are done with the simple tenses, let us now move on to the perfect tenses. So from the name itself, perfect, meaning the actions are already perfected. No? Perfect tenses, they designate actions that were or will be completed before other actions. So you can form the perfect tenses with the appropriate tense form of the helping or auxiliary verb have plus the past participle. Actually, to make it simple, we have here the formula, no? Has, have, had, plus the past participle of the verb. That is for the, for the, what do you call this? For the present perfect tense and for the past perfect tense, no? Then for the future perfect tense, of course, modal jud sa na siya. Modal plus have plus past participle. So, to visualize, I have here some examples. So, in present perfect tense, it expresses an action that started in the past but is still happening at present. So, for the sentence, I have danced. I have danced. Even though it is in present, sa ngalan nga perfect siya, the verb should be in past participle, danced. So have, no, have ang ato ang linking verb diri basta sa perfect tenses. Have, has, had. Okay, for the past perfect tense, expresses two past actions in which one happened before the other. I have danced before I sang. Still danced, no, past participle. So I plus the helping verb have plus danced. Then before I sang, no. Sige, gi-explain man diri nga expresses two past actions. What are the actions that are presented in this sentence? Danced and sang. In which one happened before the other? Which action happened before the other? Dance. Now, dance is the action that happened before the other. So that is past perfect tense. Now, for the future perfect tense, it expresses two future actions in which one will happen before the other. So, I will have danced before I sang. I, of course, we should not forget the modal will plus have plus danced still in past participle even though it is in futures basta sa ngalan nga perfect siya, past participle yun ang verb nato. Then before I sing. So notice in perfect tenses, what was that again? The helping verb has, have, or had plus the past participle form of the verb. So for the future, you use of course first the modal plus the have na helping verb plus the past participle form of the verb. Basta perfect tenses, sa ngalan nga perfect siya, maskin pang nasa present na siya or past, basta perfect na siya, all the verbs are in past participle. Okay. Now, let us move on to the progressive tenses. Progressive continuous. So, the progressive tenses, they express continuing action. So, you can form them with the appropriate tense of the verb, be verb, plus the present participle. No? Present participle like happening. So, we still have the formula, no? For the present, be verbs, it could be is, or are, plus the ing form of the verb. So, for the past, of course, past, gihapon ang imuhang be verb. We have the was and the were, plus the ing form of the verb. Then, for the future, of course, modal, plus the be, like the be jud nga verb. Be plus ing form of the verb. Okay. So, progressive tenses. Let us take a look first at the present progressive tense. So, present progressive tense, verbs in the present progressive tense express actions that are happening at the moment. Now, I, subject, am, be verb, plus ing form of the verb, dancing. I am dancing. Next, for the past progressive tense, this expresses a continuing action that started and ended in the past. Let's take a look at the sentence. I, then, plus the be verb that should be in past form, was. I was. Plus ing form of the verb, dancing, all afternoon, yesterday. Okay. Then we also have the future progressive tense. Okay, this expresses a continuing action that will happen in the future. Let's take a look at the sentence. I, of course, plus the modal will, plus the be verb, like the be jod, plus the ing form of the verb. Okay, so that is for the progressive tenses, no? Sa progressive tenses, sa ngalan nga progressive siya, even though it is in present and past and future, basta sa ngalan nga progressive siya, all the verbs are in the ing form of the verb, no? ing form of the verb. Okay. So now let us move on to the last type of tenses, the perfect progressive tenses. Okay, I have here still the formula in order for you to not be confused, no? Because most of the times when we hear the tenses, murag lisod lagi na siya, no? So here I have the formula in order for you to make it easier, in identifying the tenses. So for the present, perfect progressive tense, sa present, has, have, plus been, plus the ing form of the verb. So for the past, we have, of course, the helping verb should also be in past form, had. Then plus been, plus the ing form of the verb. Next, for the future, of course, do not forget the modals. Will, the modals, plus it could be have or has, depending if the subject is plural or singular. Then plus the been, then plus ing form of the verb. Now, to visualize, I have here some sentences. Okay, for the present perfect progressive tense, it is an action that started in the past and is still happening at present and will most likely continue to happen in the future. Take, for example, I have been dancing since then. Now, we have here the helping verb have plus been plus the ing form of the verb. Then, for the past perfect progressive tense, it expresses two past actions where the first one was still happening when the second one transpired. So, I had been dancing when the bomb exploded. Since the perfect progressive tense is in the past, therefore the the helping verbs should be in past tense. So, therefore, dili na ta mo gamit og have og has sa past. It should be had yun, no? Had kay past man. Then, plus been, plus the ing form of the verb, dancing, still ing form of the verb, no? Then, sampayan dayon nato og when the bomb exploded, no? So, ang giingon man dire, when the first one was still happening, been dancing, nagasaya paghihapon siya, when the second one transpired, na nahitabo na, so katong when the bomb exploded, no? Next, future perfect progressive tense. So, it indicates that an action will continue until a certain future time. So, take for example, I will have been dancing when the party ends, no? So, in future perfect progressive tense, first, gamiton, always jud na ang modal, will, plus have, plus been, plus dancing, ing form of the verb. Okay. Basta sa perfect progressive, sa ngalan nga perfect progressive siya, ang timan-an dyan nato ana kay naa na ang word nga been, B-E-E-N, naa dyan ang word nga been, and then all the verbs are in ing form. So I have here the summary, no? Summary. So for the simple tenses, now we have the present, past, and future. They are simple. Magkatapad ang subject and then ang verb for the present and past. Then for the future, you now have the modal. Then for the progressive tenses, all the verbs are in ing form and then be verbs ang gamit. Then for the perfect tenses, you have the helping verbs has, have, and had. Then all the verbs are in past participle sa ngalan nga perfect siya. Then for the perfect progressive tenses na dira lilitaw na ang word na been, B-E-E-N. So we have sa perfect progressive tenses, we have the the helping verbs have, has or have, then had, no? Plus the been, plus the ing form of the verb for the perfect progressive tenses. Okay, so that is all for today's video, charot. So thank you guys for listening. I hope you all have a good day and do well in the upcoming post-test exam for the English. Goodbye.